Section 12 of Jim of the Hills, A Story in Rhyme by C.J. Dennis. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Son of the Exiles. Section 12. Grey Thrush. Grey Thrush was in the wattled tree, and, "Oh, you pretty dear," he says in his alluring way, and I remarks, "Hear, hear." That does me nicely for a start, but what do I say next? But then the jacks take up the song, and I get very vexed. The thrush was in the wattled tree, and I was underneath. I'd put a clean white collar on, I'd picked a bunch of heath, for I was cleaned and clobbered up to meet my Nell that day. But now me awful trouble comes. What is a man to say? I mean to tell her all I've thought since I first saw her there, on the bark heap by the mill shed, with the sunlight in her hair. I mean to tell her all I've done and what I'll do with life, and when I've said all that and more, I'll ask her for me wife. I mean to tell her she's too good by far for such as me, and how with lonely forest life she never may agree. I mean to tell her lots of things and be real straight and fine, and after she's considered that, I'll ask her to be mine. I don't suppose I've got much hope, a simple country yob. I'd like to have a word with Blair, he's wise, is good old Bob. He's got such common sense and that, he'd tip me what to say. But I'm not nervous, not a bit, I'll do it my own way. I seen her by the sassafras, the sun was on her hair, and I don't know what come to me to see her standin' there. I never even lifts me hat, I never says g'day to her that should be treated in a real respectful way. I only know the girl I want is standin' smilin' there, right underneath the sassafras. I never thought I'd dare, but I holds out me arms to her and says as I come near, not one word of that speech of mine, but, "Oh, you pretty dear." It was enough, Lord save a man, it's simple if he knew. There's one way with a woman if she loves you good and true. Next moment she is in me arms, and me, I dunno where. If heaven can compare with it, I won't fret much up there. "Why, Mr. Jim," she says to me, "you're very bold," says she. "Yes, miss," I says. Then she looks up, and that's the end of me. "Oh, man," she cries, "oh, modest man, if you go on like this." But I interrupt the lady, and I'll do it with a kiss. "Jim, do you know what heroes are?" says she, when I'd behaved. "Why, yes," says I, "they're blokes that save fair maids that won't be saved." "You're mine," says she, and smiles at me, "and will be all my life. That is, if it occurs to you to ask me for your wife." Grey thrush is in the wattled tree when I get home that day, back to me silent, lonely house, but still he sings away. There is no other voice about, no step upon the floor, and none to come and welcome me as I get to the door. Yet in the happy heart of me I play at make-believe. I hear one singin' in the room where once I used to grieve. I hear a light step on the path, and as I reach the gate, a happy voice that makes me glad tells me I'm awful late. Now what's a man to think of that, and what's a man to say, who's been out workin' in the bush, tree fallin' all the day? And how's a man to greet his wife if she should meet him there? But Grey Thrush in the wattled tree says, "Oh, you pretty dear." The End. End of section 12. Recording by Son of the exiles. End of Jim of the Hills, a story in rhyme by C.J. Dennis.